This is the Todd Shapiro Show on Canada Talks, SiriusXM 167.
Okay, this is nice. Second time talking to this lady today because we did a little hit on Instagram, which is fun. Instagram Live is really neat. You can do conversations. They split the screen for you. And from Halo Labs, halocanada.com. Please welcome Katie Field. Hi, Katie.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm good. Long time.
Long time no talk.
Where are you actually right now?
Well, I am in the sunny city of Las Vegas at the moment.
What's in Vegas?
We have our U.S. corporate presence here.
Oh, I don't think I realized that. Out of Vegas. That's really neat. So,
yeah.
And are you a Vegas resident?
Well, yes, I am at the moment. I relocated here once I came in-house for Halo and was offered the role earlier this year, and we relocated to help with the company. So it's great to be here.
Vegas is a great place, but are you sort of like, because people often wonder like, oh, how could you live in Vegas? Because Vegas is, people think of Vegas as obviously the core there, the Strip as they call it. But Vegas is really growing, isn't it? As a community, a lot of people, great tax benefits out of Vegas.
Great. Oh, there are a lot of positive benefits to living here. No, the growth is tremendous. I actually don't mind the heat as much, and I've lived through now the entire summer. I originally am from Florida. I grew up there and was living there before we relocated here in South Florida, and I have to say the humidity and the heat is worse than the dry heat. I'm here to tell you that is a fact, not an opinion, and I lived through the summer, and I'm right now it's starting to get really lovely, actually. We went hiking in Red Rock Canyon last weekend, so that was great.
Well, that's
highly
beautiful.
recommend
Katie,
it.
Katie, it's interesting right now. There's a lot of news that's popping up, and we've spoken with your CEO about this, Kieran Sidhu, in the past about a lot of stories on vaping and some vaping illnesses and stuff. And I find it first off interesting that they, I never want to take away from a loss of life or an illness or anything, but the focus on it by the media, I find intriguing only because of alcohol disease that's been proven, cigarettes that's been, these numbers are far superior to what we're just learning about vaping. But yet you and the company at Halo Labs, there's a different approach there for you all, isn't there?
Yes, there is, and I agree. I would underscore, not to undermine any illnesses or deaths that we're seeing potentially. Those still have to be researched and really get into the bottom of what is driving that, either with e-cigs or if, cannabis vapes are also doing it. But what we've done at Halo is take an extra step, an extra measure in that we are licensed to manufacture and distribute a completely safe vaporization technology known as dab tabs. And we do that both in a THC and CBD format. So it's really been a great option for us.
And when you say safe, do people question that? And how, sort of, how can that sort of be talked about as being safe?
Yeah, so it's received certain certifications, ASTM and NSF certifications. One theory is that potentially the cartridges themselves, so these vape cartridges, disintegrate and enter the vape stream that is causing some of these lung illnesses. Well, with dab tabs, the concentrate that's vaporized is actually infused into the ceramic dablet that's placed in the unit. We have, some videos on it so people can see what we're talking about. But those cartridges do not disintegrate at all. So no particles enter except vaporized, pure cannabis concentrate. And so that is why it is a safe experience for consumers.
And is vaping like? I don't even know the numbers on vaping in general, but is it like massive? Is it a massive sort of disruptive industry to essentially to smoking cigarettes?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I don't necessarily have the statistics on what e-cigs have done in terms of cigarette share, in terms of from prevailing typical cigarettes. But what we've certainly seen in cannabis, and this is across all markets really, is that flower sales have gone down while concentrate sales go up, and vaporization, vape cartridges are the largest product category within concentrates. So we absolutely have seen vaporization and concentrates in general start creeping up while flower has gone down.
Katie Field is joining us, speaking on behalf of sort of Halo Labs and just sort of the vaping experience. I guess, what is... See, it's interesting, and back to the vaping stuff, and I was thinking about this. You as a company and the way you sort of approach business, it's all very, very ethical in terms of ensuring the safety for your consumers, also of age. And a lot of that vaping consumer stuff is the way it was marketed, marketed for youth. And, listen, there are other brands. I'm not going to mention their names. One may or may not just had a CEO that's not there anymore. But like in terms of I have friends now, Katie, who have kids who are 12, 13, 14, and they were really surprised by the way that was sort of being marketed. And here, this is what I think about the cannabis companies and the cannabis industry, is that is an of-age thing. That is you obviously, there's credentials, there's IDs, there's, whether it's medicinal or recreational. And I guess as a company, you must feel proud to have these ethics behind you.
Absolutely. We do feel proud of it. I mean, I will say this is something that states, and it's probably due to the fact that the regulations at the state level have emerged where there is not a national framework. So states have gone above and beyond to set some very, very high standards across the board, not just on product safety, but on credentialing and ensuring that whether they're a registered patient in medical states or whether they're an of-age consumer in an adult use state, that we adhere to that. And, any licensee knows whether, dispensary or otherwise, dispensaries, of course, checking IDs, but manufacturers that are ensuring that their advertising and branding doesn't appeal to youth, doesn't appeal to the underage user. We take that very, very seriously. It is what keeps our industry functioning without a national framework. And I would absolutely agree with you that, unfortunately, we have not seen that in e-cigs whatsoever. We have not seen that. And in fact, not only are the flavors appealing to children, but a lot of times it's marketed as a smoking cessation tool, when now we're coming to see that there are all of these potential dangers that, of course, they're still being researched and documented, but it is truly unfortunate. So I am proud of our industry, that we have strong regulations in the states where we operate. We take them very, very, very seriously. And moreover, we're offering other technologies such as dab tabs to ensure extra safety measures. So I am proud of our company.
I'd love to hear that, Halo Labs, and also a publicly traded stock. Full disclosure on my end, an investor, do some brand strategy work with the team, so I don't want to sound like it's a big sell. I can't give financial advice, and obviously a biased love for the company, though, working with an amazing management team. And one of the things I was thinking about, and listen, I invest a lot in a lot of different companies, and I've been investing in the cannabis space. And Katie, a lot of our listeners know that about me. And I had this interesting theory, and I forget if I've shared it with you or your team, and I could be completely wrong about this, obviously, but I thought when Trump was tweeting about the vaping, to me that was like a sign that he actually is going to eventually go back to the cannabis industry and show what they are doing right, which is the IDing, the strict way of how you can purchase it legally, all the compliance and legalities behind it, and actually go to that and say, if there's any industry that is sort of doing this stuff right, it is. And I might sound like a whack job here, but I still feel like he's going to do some sort of executive order for, maybe it's for votes, but to sort of show that there is an ethical approach, and Canada's been proving that out on how we can make this federally legal. Do you guys talk about that internally at all?
We do stay aware of what's going on federally. I have to say I was very pleased to see that. I think we all were, to see the administration being proactive, seeing the writing on the wall, seeing a lot of the public health coming up and taking measures certainly to get to the bottom of what's going on with the health scare. Now, hopefully that will shed light and the cannabis industry will be featured as a way to do it right, particularly in the regulated states, the most regulated states that have these serious standards. And that will, carry over to other states that may be adopting legal programs in cannabis, but even into other industries as well. I think there's a lot that e-cig companies, that industry can learn from what we've been doing in cannabis all along, and whether those are ever safe. On a side note, I will say dab tabs can actually be filled with that liquid. They can actually be filled. So we have them now just in CBD and THC, but that could be a potential format route for nicotine to be placed into. Now, we would never want to put additives. That's something else that's being tested. We would never want to put those additives that may be dangerous, like vitamin E or whatnot. That has to be proven out still as in terms of being safe. But dab tabs could be another way to go for e-cig companies too.
Katie, in about a minute or less here, one of the things we're seeing is in Canada, anyway, we're broadcasting from, is the rollout and learning from it and stuff, but obviously how there's still so much of the a black market that exists, and some are even saying 70% in Canada. Sorry, I know we own about 30, 40 seconds now. Is that sometimes a frustrating part for companies that are really trying to focus on doing it the right, let's be honest, the legal, compliant way?
Yes, it is a frustration because the black market companies, of course, do not have the same level of regulations that we do. In fact, they have no regulations. So they do not have to get product safety tests. They do not have to ensure that it's correctly dosed. There are those concerns, and where our concern lies too is that the demand for vaping won't go away. And when states, if they're considering, or localities, if they're considering restricting cartridges from legal outlets such as legal dispensaries, legal manufacturers, that's actually going to drive the demand underground to the black market. So we actually would caution, states and localities that if they're considering taking these measures, they understand it's not going to change the demand necessarily. That's going to take a lot of education to consumers and learning about what's driving the underlying concern here, the underlying illness. But the black market is definitely still a thriving force. And we experience, too, unfortunately, we experience that in the markets where we operate. We want to protect consumers. And the black market just does not have anywhere near, in fact, we have no regulations surrounding them.
Katie Field from Halo Labs, halocanada.com. Halo is their CSE stock symbol and on the over-the-counter as well. Do your due diligence. I don't give financial advice. Have a look. I love talking to you about this stuff. I can't wait to get you back on the program to be educated and learn more. I appreciate your time, Katie.
Thank you so much, Todd. Great to talk to you guys. Have a great weekend.
Cheers. You as well.
This is the Todd Shapiro Show on Canada Talks, SiriusXM 167.